wowie kazowie, we hit 10,000 subscribers, and that's amazing, and I can't believe that. So I asked all of you to ask me some questions. I'm gonna do an AMA for you. I'm not scripting this video, so don't be surprised if I'm a mite less eloquent than usual. But yeah, I'm excited. I got a lot more questions than I expected, so let's just jump right in. What do you do for work? Well, I have 2.5 jobs. I work in retail, and then I'm a YouTuber. And the half job is I'd like to start making money with my art, but that's not happening yet, so can't really count it. Do you have any RWBY characters you think they should kill off? It kinda hurts, but Juniper are just dragging down the story. I like Ren and Nora. Hell, I don't even hate Jean, but they're just unnecessary. They're dead weight. They're just wasting screen time, and with how gigantic the cast is, even without them, we gotta get rid of them, I think. Preferably, they would just, like, leave. But if death is what it takes, then it's what it takes, I guess. Any RWBY songs you particularly want from Volume 8? I think a Penny song could be really cool. Kinda techie, you know? Synth-ish. And most importantly, how much Rose Garden is too much Rose Garden? I think it would be annoying if the two became inseparable. You know, like if RWBY and Oscar refused to get away from each other, kind of like how every other couple in the show does. I think that's too much Rose Garden. How it is now, with them being, like, close, like they're clearly friends, but not, like, a pair, like, permanently attached, I think that's good. And I don't want them to start ignoring the other members of the team because they start, like, really liking each other or anything. Alright, so a bunch of you wanted to know what my hopes are for Volume 8, and on the day I'm recording this, Volume 8 actually starts tomorrow, so that's exciting. My hopes are that we narrow down our focus for who should be playing the starring role more. I hope that we get to have some real good development with Team RWBY. I like what happened with Ironwood and Penny last time. I want our protagonists to, like, actually get to grow this time. I hope that there's a complete narrative, because Volume 7, it's, like, separated into two halves. There's the politics first half, and then the grim attack Cinder and Neo are suddenly here second half. And I liked both of those individually, but looking back on it, it's like, why did we spend so much time on an election that didn't even matter, you know? So I hope a more cohesive narrative happens for Volume 8. That'd be nice. Are you and Judgmental Critter twins, and is that why your YouTube name is Twins Inc? Yes. Originally she was the editor, and I would do the writing and the voiceover. But she wanted to make her own videos, and that's cool, so she made her own channel. And I edited discussions, and she edited reviews. But she wanted to dedicate more time to her own stuff, and I thought that was great, so now it's just me, and that's cool. But yeah, that's where the name comes from. That's why there's two I's in Twins and Ink, but, you know. First of all, congrats on reaching 10K, you're my favorite RWBY tuber, and I hope your channel will grow even more. Thank you so much, that's so nice of you. As for my question, will you redesign any other RWBY characters? I love your videos about designs and hope to see more in the future. Yeah, I've actually done a redesign for Whitley before. Here's that. The idea was to make him look more like Willow, because the assumption was that now that Jacques has been arrested, maybe Mama Schnee will actually grow a pair and be a real parent and help Whitley with this troubling time. So yeah. It's actually really fun redesigning other characters, and I think it's just because I've done RWBY so many times, you know? Like, there's only so many different ways you can make the exact same outfit but slightly different, you know? So yeah, I'd like to actually redesign other characters more. It's fun every time I do. It's like a whole new challenge. Do you prefer fluffy tails or ears? Tails. Top 3 favorite animated TV shows? Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Land of the Lustrous. Top 3 favorite animated movies, Spirited Away, the third Pokemon movie, and unironically, Shrek 2. It's a funny movie. It's just good. What program do you use to draw your work in? I currently use Corel Painter 2015, I believe. Yeah. I've tried Clip Studio. That was pretty good. I would have to tweak around with it more, to be totally happy with it, but I don't know, in a worst case scenario where, I don't know, Corel Painter just suddenly stops working or something, Clip Studio would be a good replacement, I think. Have you ever played Yume Nikki? No, but I've watched plenty of videos about it, so I'm not, like, unfamiliar with the property. What's a semblance you'd want to have if you were in RWBY? I think movement-based semblances are really cool. I think they can prompt the coolest, like, fight scenes. So I'm gonna say the ability to, like, make myself really light, so then I can run and jump faster, but then also that means I could be, like, thrown really far, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on who's throwing me. That's another thing. I like when semblances have sort of like a risk-reward system. You know, if they're just a net positive, it's kind of boring. I think Yang's is a good example, that she has to get hurt to be stronger, you know? Or if your semblance is like a defensive one, but it halts you in your tracks to turn it on or something, so you can't use it while you're running. Something like that. I always think those are way cooler than just, I don't know, I'm lucky, or I can see really good. You know, those ones are kind of boring. It's more interesting when a semblance allows for multiple different kind of interactions between characters depending on if the character is a friend or foe. That was a long-winded answer for you, but yeah, the ability to become really light. Do you have any pets? Currently no, and to make up for that, here is a picture of ferrets wearing a sweater. If you were to design a RWBY character, what would they look like, what weapon would they use, and what would be their semblance? So I've actually designed a good number of characters before, but let me walk you through kind of how I would design a character. So first I would start with what fairy tale they are. Let's go with the Cheshire Cat. Cool. From there, we want to pick some other important elements. Their color is important in RWBY, so we're going to go with cherry red, and I think a cool name would be Chérie, like the French word, because it kind of vibes with cherry, and then also Cheshire, like it gels together. Cool, and then from there we gotta pick a weapon. So let's give them, like, dual revolvers, like a cool cowboy thing, that can transform into brass knuckles. So they can shoot you and also punch you, and maybe the brass knuckles also have a blade on them. Nice. Alright, so that's all the, like, big important things, and then from there we have to narrow down some design elements. And since they're based off of an animal, we'll make them a faunus, so they're gonna be a cat faunus. And then some other important elements for design are, like, what features should they have? So, since it's the Cheshire Cat, stripes need to be implemented into their design somehow, and also a big, toothy grin. And that grin could be also, like, an accessory, like on a bandana or a belt buckle, you know, maybe not necessarily they're smiling all the time, but they can imply a smile with their outfit. And yeah, from there, it's up to, you know, those are all the big things. Once you have all of those sort of ideas down, then you have to kind of figure out their character, because if you don't have a character, it's harder to figure out what they would wear. You know, a shy character won't necessarily wear the same things as a very outgoing character. Not always, but stereotyping can help when it comes to the first phases of design. So, we'll say our Cheshire Cat is kind of similar to the Disney version, so they're kind of catty and mysterious, but overall a good person who wants to help people but doesn't want to be friends, kind of a thing. And then, yeah, it's kind of, you just figure out their body type, how tall are they, what their skin color is, and all that kind of stuff. Put some clothes on them, and then you have a character. So, yeah, I want you guys to come up with this design. I think that could be really fun. If you do that, send them my way on Twitter, or leave a comment to like a link if you like don't use Twitter or something. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, that's how I design a character, at least for RWBY. If you could change anything from any show you've seen, what would it be? At the end of My Love Story, like the last couple of episodes, they revolve around this idea of a love triangle. Like a guy gets a crush on Yamato, and Takeyo's really like upset about it. And the episodes basically revolve around him deciding whether or not he's good enough for Yamato and whether he should back off and let this popular, rich, super attractive guy date her, if that would be better for her. And then at the end of it, Yamato's like, I like you, Takeo. Duh. and that's kind of it, you know? And it just felt like a forced in sort of climax to put some stakes in the finale. And, you know, it's not bad or anything, but I think it would have been better if it had been instead revolved around Takeo and Yamato, like, just kind of taking a new step in their relationship. At the end of it, they do kiss for the first time. That's nice. But I think, you know, because most of the show is, like, they don't hang out. She makes him food, and he thinks she's cute. And they clearly like each other, but they don't, like, do casual hangout activities together. If they do something, it's like a date where they go with friends, or it's a one-off, oh, let's go hiking, and then they never go hiking again. So I don't know, maybe if they took the step towards being closer as friends as well, like she comes over and they play video games, and he gets to realize that she's a friend as well, kind of a thing, instead of having a cliche, oh, another guy has a crush on her. I think that would have been nice. So a bunch of you wanted to know what my favorite weapon is. It's the gunchucks. I think they're really cool. They're really unique. Yeah, just like the gunchucks. And I think that's why I'm so bummed that he never uses them. Sun's always in staff mode. And that's what made me realize that the characters never really transition their fighting styles in the middle of combat anymore, because Sun's gunchucks was like a thing. Like Carrie tweeted about it for Volume 5. He was like, guys, get ready, tomorrow's episode is gonna have the gunchucks. And it was like something we had to build up for the volume for some reason. And I think that's really dumb. I've talked about this before, but that half of the characters' movesets have become effective spirit bombs. And it's like, why can't he just use his gunchucks? Why does he have to wait until the exciting finale to use them? It's just dumb. But yeah, I like the gunchucks. They're very cool. PSA, this is gonna take a long time to record this video, so if you hear any, like, background noise, I have no control over that. It's my neighbors. You might not even hear it, and it'll just bother me, and that's alright. Next question. Will you ever make a fan-made RWBY team? I've made about 7, so I'll probably make more in the future as well. How long does it usually take for you to make a video? It takes a couple of days for me to write the scripts, usually. This is like an on-average kind of deal. So yeah, a couple of days to write the script. It takes a couple of hours for me to record audio. It'll take a couple of weeks for me to edit the video together, and then it'll take another couple of hours to make the thumbnail. So it's a relatively long-ish process, but it's fun, so yeah. What RWBY OP is your favorite or least favorite? OP is opening, for anyone who doesn't know. So my favorite is Volume 2's. I really like the visuals, and the song's pretty good. And also it's, you know, it's got stuff happening without, like, spoiling anything or feeling like it's trying too hard. There's a lot of Pyrrha in it, but it's fine. My least favorite is Volume 5's, because I hate the song. The visuals are boring. It just annoys me, and I've seen it so much that I'm just done. I'm done with the Volume 5 opening. It's not a good song. It's boring. It's a waste of time before every episode. If you were to change one main character's role in the show, who would it be and why? P.S. It can't be Jean. I think it's pretty dumb to exclude Jean like that for no reason, but that's fine. I wouldn't pick him anyway. I would say Crow, and his role needs to change to be a significantly more distant one. I really like Crow, but I think they're overusing him because we all really like Crow for the most part. And I do think that his role would be better filled if he was a sometimes reoccurring kind of guidance character for the girls, you know? Show up every, well, you know, maybe once a volume, you know, and he gives the kids some advice, he helps them from a sticky situation, something like that, and then he leaves. I think that could be really good, because with him there, he's like the de facto leader. Just listen to what Uncle Crow says. And he just takes a lot of agency away from the kids, who, of course, just kind of help follow the adult in the group. And like one of my favorite episodes is Alone in the Woods, where Crow kind of ejects himself from the story. You know, he goes and drinks in the bar, and that forces the kids to take charge again. And that was just really cool. And I really like Crow, but I do think he needs to take a step back. And that's what I would change. I would change so Crow was not as active in the plot as he currently is. Favorite RWBY weapon or semblance concepts? Well, I already told you the weapon. While I'm not a huge fan of the character, I think Neo's semblance is pretty cool. And I think they could do way more with it than what they currently do. But I think they're starting to catch on, specifically like the stuff with tricking the other kids into thinking she's Nora. So it didn't last very long, but I want to see Neo do more of that. Or maybe fighting styles. I actually really liked Melanie's fighting in the Yellow trailer. Just very kick-oriented. It was unique, it was cool, I liked her shoes, so yeah, I liked Melanie's fighting style. Also, congrats on the 10K. Thank you so much, 00. Do you have any non-RWBY related character designs that you'd be willing to show us? Yeah, here is an outfit I made for Hatsune Miku. Pretty cool. Congrats! What is your favorite video game series? Well, my favorite video game is Banjo-Kazooie, but I'd be hard-pressed to call that a series. So instead I'm gonna say The Legend of Zelda. Big fan of the Zelda series. Will you ever start a Minecraft Let's Play? Winky face. No. Sorry. Have you ever watched Attack on Titan? I have not, so can't really do a review on it for you. If not, what other anime have you seen and would recommend? I actually don't watch a ton of anime. I don't have a bunch of time on my hands, so I don't want to waste my time on a bad show. But I would recommend A Place Further Than the Universe, Land of the Lustrous, Madoka Magica, Shirobako was good, and also Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. There's a good collection for you to pick from. Oh, some stinky loser asked this question. What a dork. Ugh. What's your favorite of your videos? This is a stupid answer, but I actually really like the RWBY X Digimon opening. It was so short, but it's just, I went to bed one night and I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I just had to make it, and I'm like, great, and it came out excellently. Can you check out Meta Runner? It's made by Glitch Productions. I don't know who that is. Maybe? Have you ever heard of Danganronpa? And if you have you ever played it? I have heard of it. I don't think I actually said that name right there. But yeah, I've heard of it. I have not played it. If so, who's your favorite character? Well, I haven't played it, but I did a little Google search, and I found this character named Maki Harukawa. She's got a cool design, so she's my favorite. A couple of you wanted to know if I was thinking about maybe expanding to talk about more than just RWBY. My sister does do that more so than me currently. Yes, I am planning on doing that. I'm working on stuff. I've got an idea. I need to make sure I can actually do that idea. It's gonna be, like, a whole ass movie if if it comes out the way I want it, so that won't happen for a while. But yes, I would like to talk about other things eventually. Yay, congrats twins, you deserve it, thank you. Other than Team RWBY, which RWBY character would you redesign and why? I'm gonna pick one that I haven't actually already designed, like done a redesign for. I think Mercury could be really fun to make a new design for, and Homeboy really needs it. He looks stale. He's always looked stale. Like, even because, you know, he's teamed up with Emerald, and Emerald that's a top tier design. That's a good design. And Mercury is just a blah. He's so boring, and so Mercury needs a new design, and I think it could be really fun to find some cool, fashionable, new stuff for him that isn't just a shirt with a awkward-looking collar. Host an art contest. That's not a question, and you have no right to tell me what to do. What's your favorite TV series, be it animated or live action? Well, my favorite is Cowboy Bebop, but I'll also mention that I really like Friends and MASH. What would your color or fairy tale be if you were a RWBY character? My color would be purple, and my fairy tale would be Ares. The god of war. Favorite line in RWBY?
Great! The gang's all here. Now we could die together!
Oh, you got greedy and asked a whole bunch of questions. Alright, let's go. So, what's your favorite series when it comes to character design? This one's really hard. And I don't know why, but I think I'm actually gonna go with Madoka Magica. The girls are all really iconic, and they've got, like, detailed designs without being too much, you know? Like, they're just good. Good use of color as well. What's a series you hate because the character designs are so bad, / what's the worst character design you've seen so far, or just one you personally hate? I don't think there's a series that I hate because of the character designs, but there is a character design that I really don't like. I don't know her name. It's the big-tittied dragon from Dragon Maid, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. It's a fine enough design. Quite frankly, I think actually the designs in that show are actually really good. The girls are cute, they're very easily distinguishable, but I just fucking hate her ginormo tits, and let me make it clear. I have large breasts. I don't just hate boobies, but they're just constantly in motion and always just bouncing all the fuck around, and like they'll hit things a lot from what I've seen, and that hurts. That's why I don't like the design. Her character kind of feels like it's just look at these big titties bouncing, and it's like, look up porn if you want to see that, because if I'm watching my cute slice of life dragon anime, I don't want to be thinking about how in pain she would be because her ginormo bonkers are flapping around everywhere, and it's just an unnecessary, like, distraction from just a fine design, you know? Like, if they just didn't move as much, I think I wouldn't hate it as much as I do. But I don't know. I think I may not be the target audience for that show anyway. Oh, there's more to your question. Right, I forgot. I went on a whole ass tangent. Are there any series you got into because you saw one or two cool looking characters? Have you ever been disappointed by a series for that reason? I don't think I've been disappointed by a series for that reason. But a good show that I did do that with was Magical Girl Raising Project, which it's not my favorite anime by any means. It was fine. It was good enough. But yeah, I saw one of those character designs and I was like, ooh, cool. Let's get into that. Is there a series / game you're into that people wouldn't expect you to be? I don't really think so. I tend to wear my interests on my sleeves, but I'd say Jak and Daxter, like that series, that's probably a weird, like, left curve for people to deal with. What's your least favorite cliche? My favorite is, like, in a pair, it's a big guy, like a big, strong-looking dude, but he's, like, the shy or the quiet one, and then there's a little girl, and she's the loud, kind of intimidating one. Think, basically, Teacher and her husband from Fullmetal Alchemist. My least favorite cliche would be this new thing where to make your wacky female protagonist endearing, you make her clumsy. 50 Shades of Grey is a good example of that, where, oh, she's so likable because she trips all the time and drops shit. It's just weak. Most controversial food opinion, I like candy corn. It's tasty. P.S. Congrats on 10K. Thank you so much. Congrats, you're my favorite RubyTuber, and I'm glad you've gotten this moderately far. Hey, thank you. About the questions, the joke question is, of course, which one of you is the evil twin? It's me. Always have been, always will be. The serious one is, if part of Ruby's lore were to be further explored, which would you like it to be and why? I guess this counts. I'd like to know more about the birdification of Crow and Raven. I want to know how that went down. Yeah, I think that'd be really neat. It would also be a good chance to explore Ozpin's character, because how it happens can really help frame him as either the bad guy the show wants us to think he is, or the troubled good guy who's made mistakes that the show actually makes him seem to be. So we got kind of a combo question here, because one person has asked what my favorite band is, and then another one has asked what my music playlist / library consists of if I have one. So my favorite band is Ninja Sex Party. They're amazing. I love them so much. I also would recommend, like if you want to know other music I listen to, I would recommend The Bunny the Bear. I've also been listening to a lot of Gorillaz lately. That's unexpected for me, because I didn't like them for a long time. Don't want to bore you with the details. So fill out the rest of that playlist with some good rap, 80s power ballads, and anime openings and Vocaloid music. And that's kind of the gambit of what I listen to. You deserve it every bit. Thank you. How did you get into Ruby? So, the day I subscribed to Rooster Teeth, we had gotten really into their animated adventures, and then got into Achievement Hunter through that. And that was back when Achievement Hunter was still, like, in the same channel as Rooster Teeth, before they made their own, like, YouTube channel. So the day we subscribed to Rooster Teeth was the day that they released the Red trailer. That was the first thing from Rooster Teeth in our subscription box. I'm saying our because my sister and I had shared a YouTube channel for a while there. And at first it was actually like, I was confused. I'm like, what's this anime thing? What is Rooster Teeth? Don't they do like the machinima stuff in video games? And I fell in love. So I kind of like to think it was destiny that it was released the same day that we subscribed to Rooster Teeth, because we hadn't watched Red vs. Blue yet, so we didn't see it at the end of the season 10 finale. So yeah. Beans? Yeah, sure, I guess. But seriously, I don't know if you've already answered this, but what's your least favorite Ruby ship? I tend to not work with least favorites on ships. If I'm not into a ship, I'll just not really engage with it. I guess I'll say Crow X Winter, just because it seems to be founded on completely nothing, which is really nothing new for, well, shipping in general, but especially Ruby. I don't know, it's just, they've never really struck me as, like, a good pair. He also seems way older than her, and, like, I'm barely one to critique that. I tend to develop crushes on men older than me, but, like, I don't know, he seems so older than Winter. Like, I don't know, just nothing about it seems good to me, I guess. Congrats, Twins Inc. I've always learned a lot about character design thanks to you, and also Judgmental Critter and Alison RU, so maybe you should make a video about the designs on weapons, since it's a video I wanted you to make, but might never happen. Thank you. No, I probably won't make a video about weapons, because I'm not good at designing weapons. You know, I can't put a sword in a dress and call it a good design, like how I can with a character. I've never been good at designing weapons. I don't understand how, like, the mechanisms work for the transformations in Ruby. Like, I've seen Crescent Rose, like, fold out and fold back in, and it's magic to me, because I'm not an engineer. I'm not good at thinking up new weapons. I tend to just, like, pick a weapon, like sword, and then make it a gun also somehow. So yeah, I have no real authority to talk on it. Sorry, sweetheart. What are your favorite musics from the RWBY soundtrack? If you could select your favorites from each of the volumes, that would be amazing. So for Volume 1, I like Red Like Roses Part 2. For Volume 2, I like Dream Come True. For Volume 3, I like Neon. Volume 4, I like Bumblebee. I like absolutely nothing from both the Volume 5 and Volume 6 soundtracks, and none of that is good at all, in my opinion. And for Volume 7, I'm gonna pick Hero, even though I don't love Hero. I think the lyrics are, like, kind of crappy, and it's just all over the fucking place. Like, I can't pick a tone. I want to like Hero more than I do, but I don't hate it, so yeah, I've honestly been pretty disappointed with the soundtracks since, Volume 4. I think Jeff is excessively one-note. He also has this bad habit of making all of the instruments the same volume as the vocalist, making it impossible to hear Casey singing. He also can't understand that syllables need time to be said, so he'll cram a really wordy lyric into the song and expect Casey to sing it in like a fraction of the time that it takes to say everything. So the lyrics become really mumbly and just shitty and hard to hear. He also is obsessed with, like, having one sort of progression happen where the song starts slow, guitar riff, then all the drums and shit kicks in, and now we're doing a pop rock thing. And then the bridge is slow again and ominous sounding, and then it kicks back in, and then we conclude with like a couple of choruses or something. They all sound the same. And the songs that I like from him kind of break away from that, that mold. You know, it's not bad music necessarily. Clearly, he's making money doing it. But I think he's kind of just run his course. He's reusing ideas, reusing the same, like, I don't know, it's just bored. I'm bored. I'm bored of Jeff's music, and I don't understand why people heap praise on top of him as if he's innovating in any way, because he's made the same fucking song for Weiss every single year. Wow, I get it, she's cold and doesn't like her daddy. Wow, so unique. What you think about furries? I have no opinion on furries. Congratulations, thank you. Do you have an OC that you created and wish to show? It doesn't need to be based on RWBY. Any OC would be great. Yeah, here are a couple of cute elf girls. They're dating, and that's it. Wow, aren't they cute? What's your most biased RWBY opinion? This one was really hard, because I don't know, I try to be unbiased. I think I'm gonna say that I'm easier on Hazel than I am on other characters, because, okay, let's be honest, his writing's not amazing, you know, the characterization of I hate Ozpin because my sister died. It's weak. He's a pretty weak character and excessively one-note, but I'm easier on him than I think I would be otherwise because I think he's cute, so probably that. What's your least favorite of your videos? Which is the opposite of my sister's question. I'm gonna say the first review we did. So, reviewing Volume 4, Episode 1. It's not horrible, but I didn't mention as many things as I would now. I was scared of the backlash, so I wasn't as harsh as I currently am, because I didn't want people to, like, tear me down for being too mean. So, and I just ignored a lot of things. Like, I don't know, I was more nitpicky, though. It's just not a great video. I also sound all unconfident and shit. Don't go watch it, or do, I guess, if you want. It's not horrible, but yeah, I never go back to rewatch that one. What are your top 5 video games? This isn't necessarily in order or anything, but Banjo-Kazooie, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Pokemon Black version, but Soul Silver is also really good, so we'll kind of just lump those two together. Nier, the original Nier. I liked Automata a lot too, but Nier is special to me. And Tales of Xillia. Do you like or watch any combat sports / martial arts? I do not. Sorry, I'm boring. Why do you draw? Because I like creating things. I like being able to make a story, or a character, or a design. I've got all these, like, fun thoughts, like images, like what a character would look like, or how something would go down. And I like being able to put that, make it real, like give it visuals. So that's why I draw. When started, I've basically been drawing my entire life, but I didn't start taking it really seriously until, how many years ago was that? I think it's 6 years ago. So, honestly, I haven't been drawing too long. I wish I had started, like, kind of really trying earlier, but that's alright, cause you always improve, every day. And finally, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty alright, man. Congrats on your 10K and have a beautiful day. Thank you, you too! What made you want to do videos about RWBY? I was so unhappy with Volume 4. Because I was watching Volume 4, and I started out really excited, but every episode, like, something happened where I was like, that wasn't great, and I was leaving my comments on the Rooster Teeth website. And it felt like the only people who were reading them were assholes trying to pick fights with whoever dared to say that the show wasn't perfect. And I was just tired of kind of feeling like I was screaming into the void about what seemed like clear problems with the show. I wanted the critique to be heard, so the show could improve and get better, because I liked the show a lot, and I didn't want it to be this kind of mediocre thing that it was in Volume 4. So that's why. Like, I was literally up at night, tossing and turning, thinking about how unhappy I was with Volume 4, and then we decided, it's like, hey, Critter, I want to make videos, I want to review RWBY. And she was like, great, because I want us to do that too, I want to edit those. So yeah, that's how it all started, being so unhappy with Volume 4. And what's the best and worst thing about making RWBY videos? The best thing is that it does feel like I'm actually being heard now. I don't know if anybody at Rooster Teeth watches my videos, and I don't let myself, like, think that I'm, like, a big inspiration for them or something like that. But things that I have critiqued, I have seen improve over the show, specifically in Volume 6-ish, but more so in Volume 7. So it's nice that, you know, it at least feels like someone's hearing me, you know? And maybe if it's not, like, Miles and Carrie themselves, you guys are. So that's nice, that I can have that discourse with other people, and not just the assholes trying to pick fights with whoever doesn't like the show, you know? The worst thing are the needless attacks on my character that I get. There's a lot of mean comments I still do get, and it's just amazing how people will just completely lay into you as a person because you have a different opinion than them about a cartoon. We don't have to agree. You like Blake, I don't. Cool. That doesn't mean you have to attack me because I don't like the cat girl. Alright? There were a lot of new characters introduced in Volume 7. In your opinion, who was the best and who was the worst? There were a lot of characters. I'm gonna say the best was Clover, which sucks because he's gone now. But I also think that was the point. I think they kind of went out of their way to make him likable, so then his death hurt more. They did the exact same thing with Pyrrha. They're actually quite transparent with that kind of stuff in hindsight. But yeah, I think Clover was interesting and had a unique dynamic with Crow. So that sucks that he's gone. The worst is Robin. I'm amazed that they managed to make a character that I hate more than Cinder. I didn't think it was possible. Robin is the worst thing to happen to this show. I hope she gets better. I would rather she become an actually likable character that's actually written well and performed well. And, well, she was performed fine, I guess. She was kind of annoying, but I think that was, like, the direction. But I would rather her become, like, good, actually, and not the most annoying thing that's ever pierced my eyes. I would rather that than she just, like, get killed off, cause, oh, Robin's worthless. Oh, she's trash. Congrats on reaching 10k, you deserve way more. Hey, thank you! Congratulations, thank you. Have you seen the Tangled series? I'd love to see what you have to say about the show and its songs. I haven't, I'm sorry. I've seen a clip of it, like, where Rapunzel sang a sad-sounding song and then her hair turned black and edgy and everyone was obsessed with black, edgy version Tangled. I've seen that clip. It was good. It was nice animation. I didn't hate the song, but I don't remember how it sounded. But yeah, sorry. I didn't get into that one. Are you open to talking about other shows? I have already answered that question. Also, butts or boobs? Boobs. That was a stupid question and answer. Alfredo O has 2 questions. Thoughts on the 4 maidens? I think they're a cool concept. I think they are implemented poorly in the show. The fact that they're kind of pushed aside for the relics was, in my opinion, one of the biggest mistakes that RWBY, the show, has ever made. Because the maidens are interesting and a unique way to have this special MacGuffin for it to be a person, and not just, like, the Triforce or whatever. Gives the idea of the maidens a cool level of dimension, and intrigue that just, like, a fancy key wouldn't. But they've been, like, wholly replaced for relics lately. And the part that we all care about is who's gonna become the maiden. The fact that Penny became the maiden was exciting at the end of Volume 7. Someone obtaining the relic so far has been not nearly as exciting. At best, the relic is a convenience for Grimm to attack sometimes. Maidens really matter, relics don't. So I like the maidens in theory, but I don't like how they've been handled in the show. Any shows or animes you'd like to cover in the future? Yeah, there's an anime called Juni Taisen. I think it was called Zodiac War. That one I would like to talk about. And also there's another one called Suradure Children. I think that's how you pronounce that. They're both older shows, and neither of them are particularly popular, so very on brand of me to talk about them, I think. You wanted to know if I was the older sister? I am, by 9 minutes. What's your favorite moment from each volume? So for volume 1, I'm gonna try to pick not just fights, because I do like the fights a lot in RWBY. So volume 1, I'm gonna pick the fight at the dock between Sun, Blake, and Torchwick, and then also Penny shows up. That's all just super fun. For volume 2, I like the motorcycle chase, when they're chasing the Paladin. Blake and Sun are like jumping on cars. That's all really cool and exciting. For volume 3, it's actually the one episode that doesn't have any fights in it. I like when Pyrrha and Jean talk about destiny and stuff, cause that's gotta be some of the best characterization I've ever seen in this show. It proved that Miles and Carey can actually write these characters to grow and to develop and to, like, speak with nuance, and, like, yeah, it's not the most groundbreaking writing on Earth, but it was very good, and I really liked that interaction. It made me actually care about Jean and Pyrrha dating, which 2 whole years of knowing Pyrrha had a crush on Jean failed to do that for me. So yeah, that's a great scene. For Volume 4, I really like the Kuroyuri flashback, specifically, while it's really exciting when the Nukkalavi does attack, and it's super scary, I just like seeing baby Ren be cute in town. That's just fun. For Volume 5, I like when Weiss fights the bees. It was a fine enough fight. It was probably one of the best fights of the volume, which is not great. But it was a cool enough action scene, you know? For Volume 6, of course, I love the Apathy adventure. Once the girls get into the well, that's all just exciting. It's all so fun, and I absolutely love that part. And then for Volume 7, this is gonna sound weird, I love Tyrion's murder spree at the party. I think it's another really well done, like, edge of your seat sort of scene. I like what happens with Penny. I like the implications of the scene more than what actually transpires from it, because it's like, oh no, we don't trust Penny anymore. And that goes fucking nowhere. But yeah, it was very exciting, and seeing Tyrion actually get to take on the role of the insane sort of psycho murderer that he had been implied to be, but never actually got to really prove beyond laughing while he stabbed something. It was just good. It was just fun. It was a really exciting episode, so that's cool. Do you speak any other languages besides English? If not, which ones would you like to learn? I speak very little Spanish. I'm not fluent in it at all. At best, I can vaguely understand what someone's trying to tell me if they speak slowly, and I certainly can't, like, reply efficiently to them. And I know even less German and Japanese. Like, I've just picked up a couple of words for those. I think it would be nice to know more Spanish. I think it would be very useful. I also don't know if this counts, but I would also say sign language. I would love to be better at sign language. I know the alphabet, and I know a couple of words for that too, but I just think it would be really nice to be able to interact with mute or deaf people more efficiently. As someone who hasn't gotten into RWBY but has seen a lot of perspectives around the fandom, do you have any advice? I suggest start with the original 4 trailers, the red, white, black, yellow trailer. They're really fun. They're some of the best stuff the show has to offer. And then I do suggest make it to Volume 4. If you get into Volume 4 and you're not really loving the direction the show's taken with the story and everything, because it shifts genres at Volume 4, and that seems to be the way they're going forward now. So if you're not really loving how Volume 4 is panning out in terms of story progression or characters, then I would say jump out and wait to see if someone says, come back, the show's gotten a lot better. If you're into Volume 4 and you still like the characters in the world, then, grit your teeth through Volume 5 and 6, and then hopefully you'll be okay from there. My only other advice would be to not engage with the fandom at all. The RWBY fandom is one of the most toxic group of people I've ever had to interact with. There's some great fan art, and of course there are pockets of people who are like, chill, actually. But yeah, and it doesn't even matter what your opinion is on RWBY, someone is going to absolutely attack you for it, because the fandom has this dumb idea that there are 2 sides, the hate-dom, and then the people who love the show. So even if you like the show and you have a bunch of praise for it, there's a group of people who will insult you for not disliking elements. And then, if you do dislike elements, there's a group of people who will insult you for not thinking the show is perfect. And don't even get me started on shipping. Don't share your shipping opinions, because you will get attacked. Regardless of what your opinion is, there is someone who will attack you personally because you like the idea of 2 cartoon characters holding hands. So yeah, just do not engage with the fandom. The less you interact with other RWBY fans on the internet, the better your experience will be of the show. So, yeah, that's my advice, and I know it sounds really dramatic, and it kind of sucks that I'm saying don't talk to other people who share your interests, but this community has proven to me that it's not worth it, and that it's a lot of trash. So, hey, if you don't want to be called trash, don't act like trash, Sorry to be a downer on that. But yeah, it's just how it is. If you could change anything about each volume of RWBY, what would you change? Okay, I think this one might be an extensive answer, but let's go. So for Volume 1, I would shorten the Jean arc. It's fine for him to have an arc. It was kind of worthless. Like, it didn't do much, but I didn't hate focusing on the B team for a couple of episodes. But it would make it shorter, and then add a Yang little mini arc, because Yang doesn't get to do anything for Volume 1, and that blows. So that's what I would do for that. For Volume 2, I would have less characters show up during the finale, because Team RWBY, like everyone really, it's you hit a couple of Grimm, then we cut to the next character, except for Jean. Jean gets an extended scene. That was dumb. But yeah, and then it's like all of Team Ruby, and then all of Team Juniper, and then all of Team Coffee, and then all the teachers, and Team Sun and Neptune, and it's too many characters. It's very lackluster. It's a lame way to end what was by all means a very good volume. The train sequences are miles better than the actual finale, and I think that's a problem. That's an issue. For volume 3, I would involve Ruby more in the climax, because it kind of becomes the Pyrrha show once she learns about the maidens, and I liked it. I liked volume 3 a lot, but I do think it's a mistake that Ruby was sort of forgotten for our sort of stand-in protagonist of Pyrrha. So once like everything kind of kicks off, we focus on Ruby a little bit because she goes and fights Torchwick, but then she doesn't even get to like beat him. He just gets eaten by a Grimm. She was losing the battle, so that wasn't a conclusionary sort of arc. And then I just wish we got to spend more time on her as she was, you know, trying to protect her team and trying to get to Pyrrha in time. You know, it's called Ruby. Let Ruby participate more. For volume 4, I would explore Yang's trauma more. She puts on the arm and then everything's fine. That will always be one of my least favorite things of Ruby, is how the trauma of losing her arm was just an excuse to keep her at home so Ruby can run away on her own. Like, by all means, Yang was upset at the end of volume 3 because they wanted the team to be separated, and because Yang would have gone with Ruby otherwise. And I think it's just really lame to skim over that. It doesn't even have to be a long thing, just an episode or two of Yang learning to live with a new prosthetic arm. I think that would have been very beneficial. Also, I would remove Blake slapping Sun, but I think I've made it clear by now that I really fucking hate that scene. Volume 5, I wrote better finale, because I did write down like a vague ideas for this, just so I wouldn't forget what I had. And it's easy to just say, make all the fights cooler. In a realistic sense, I would have less characters be involved, so then the animators and directors don't have to jump back and forth so often between so many different characters. Yeah. Also, it would be cool if Yang actually got to fight Raven at the end, as opposed to just talk to her. And it doesn't even have to be a big fight, but, you know, it's the last episode. Give us a fight, man. For volume 6, I would completely get rid of Cordo. Cordovan's useless, and I would instead have the kids deal with, like, Adam and the Leviathan only. Especially since the Leviathan acts as a real threat. Cordo and Ruby both keep insisting that they're on the same team. The fight is fucking tensionless because of that. Meanwhile, it's also just like a distraction from the actually, like, engaging battle happening between Bumblebee and Adam. And then suddenly the Leviathan shows up for the last episode and does fuck all, and then Ruby stops it with her eyes, and then Cordo kill steals. So instead I would just get rid of Cordo and have it be like the team dealing with the Leviathan and Adam. And also, instead of just have Ruby plant her ass in front of the Leviathan and think about some 2D flashback images, it was a fine enough scene. She did not need to be in front of it though. That was dumb, that she just put herself in danger for no reason. Yeah, and I would have her friends helping her, you know? They can be like fighting off the Leviathan while she thinks about her backstory flashback things, you know? Like, it was nice that they actually made Ruby be the important one, like the one to do the important thing for once in the fucking show's full-ass history, but it's a shame that it came at the cost of completely excluding the rest of the, like, 12 characters that were with her to do that. Yeah, the finale was just very disappointing to me for Volume 6. And finally, Volume 7, I would fix the scene with Robin in the plane, so the kids are under arrest, and that includes Crow. And Clover's like, Crow, man, you're under arrest. And then Robin just forces herself, like, into the spotlight, and she's like, Ironwood's not gonna arrest me, and Clover's like, you're not under fucking arrest, and then she just starts firing randomly into the airplane, and then Clover's like, and then Crow is like, well, I guess that means I have to fight too. And it's just really shittily written. It is some of the worst writing the show has seen. And Robin, like, everyone's reacting so out of character, and it's just super contrived. Everything is blatantly happening to force the fight to occur. Like, the plane has to crash. And instead of do that in a believable way at all, they have all the characters become complete nimrods, and Robin's asinine and annoying, and like, I don't know, just make her also under arrest so then her outburst makes sense. I don't know, it's just a really bad scene, and it really sours the atmosphere for the rest of the episode. So yeah, another very long-winded answer for you there, but yeah. Favorite piece of art made by the fandom? I don't really have one favorite picture, so instead what I'll do is I'll use this time to have like a little gallery of just a handful of some of my favorite RWBY arts, and there'll be links to all of them in the description down there. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone I follow exclusively for RWBY art. But yeah, check out all these artists and everything. It'd be super cool. Support artists. Will you ever be kind to Jean? I don't hate Jean. I'm unhappy with how he's been handled. I'm unhappy with how constantly he is in the spotlight. And Lightning Dragon 88, I do see you in the comments. Every time I critique how the show handles Jean, I see you basically complaining about that and how I need to be nicer to him. I don't need to be nicer to him. But yeah, I don't hate Jean. I'm a big fan of how they handled him in Volume 7. He was really funny. I haven't found RWBY funny in years, and Jean truly playing a supporting role for the first time ever in the show. He really excelled in that role, and it's not just because I don't like seeing Jean take center stage. I just think he gets to shine in that role the way that they want Nora to. Nora tends to play a very backseat role, and she'll play the role of kind of comic relief, which just means she'll screech at you, and you're expected to laugh because she said something really loud. But on the flip side, Jean was genuinely funny, and he was just handled really well in Volume 7. It made me want to see him do more like that. So, no, I'll never be kind to Jean. Congrats! Thank you! Are there any other franchises out there that are more underrated you'd love to see get more recognition? I'm a sucker for those. Yeah, so first I'm gonna direct you all towards Wada no Hara and the Great Blue Sea. It's a video game, but also a manga. And from there, also just like branch out into all of Deep Sea Prisoner, which that's the creator. And just branch out into the rest of her stuff, because I love her art and I love her character design. That's great. Also, there's a game called Little Misfortune. It's amazing. It's so cute. There's definitely some Let's Plays out there that you can watch. Just engage with that, and also its sister video game, Franbo. They're made by the same people. I'm in love with that aesthetic. That's amazing. There's also a video game called Wolf Among Us. It was a Telltale game, so this one you may have heard of. It certainly didn't get the same, I think, notoriety as like The Walking Dead Telltale games did. I thought it was really great. I really liked the characters, and it had an engaging story. There's also a comic, like it's based off of a comic, but I'm really not into the comic, so but if you do want a comic to read and you're over the age of 18, because this is a mature audience sort of comic, Saga is, I really like it a lot. It's got a very realistic take on people, and how it handles characters. You know, it's not groundbreaking in terms of writing, but I really like the art, and so yeah, check that one out if you're over the age of 18. that one's for mature audiences only. But yeah, look at all those. Just go check out all of those things. Engage with those. Make fan art of those. Make those popular. Yeah. How would you have written Volume 7? That's a big question. So I would have the politics element, like the election stuff. I would have that play either a smaller role in the story or a more in-depth role. Like either have it actually affect the Grimm and everything attacking at the end, or have it take up less time if we don't want it to really make an impact on the finale, because really, it doesn't matter who won. That changed nothing. I would also have just Team RWBY do more throughout the course of the story. They play backseat a lot, so I always want Team RWBY to actually fucking do something in the show. I would have Juniper fight the Aesops at the end, and not Team RWBY. I would instead have Team RWBY handling, the actual bad guys. So just trade out RWBY for Juniper over there, and they can, Team RWBY can fight Neo and have to handle that while because Juniper had spent more time with the Aesops anyway, and so they actually have more of a connection to them. Ugh, what a mismanaged kind of combination of fights. On that note, I would also have Cinder and Neo show up earlier. Them not being in the story until episode, I think it's 8 or 10, something like that. I think it's kind of dumb. It worked fine enough. It's certainly not I'm furious about that. But just having surprise, Cinder and Neo are actually the ones you have to care about after spending the whole volume building up Watts and Tyrion. And Watts still kind of fought Ironwood, but Cinder and Neo were definitely playing the main role. They were doing the important thing. So have them show up earlier, And yeah, I think that's all I would change. I'm never really interested in totally rewriting the series. I want to try to change as little as possible. I do think Clover's death was not handled well. I think they accidentally buried their gay. Boy, I gotta make a whole video about Clover, honestly. I'm not upset at the idea of giving Crow a death to mourn, but it does feel like they just tried to retread the old ground of Pyrrha. Jean's finally gotten over Pyrrha, so someone else has to have a friend / significant other or whatever to cry about and be upset about. And, I don't know, it just felt unnecessary. Yeah, there are a lot of things that could be changed with Clover and his death. But I think I'll save all that for a 20+ minute long video where I talk about it for you. So, but yeah, there you go. I lost my tea again. Do you know where it is? Last time a group of people threw it out into the sea. Check your cupboard. When was the closest you came to dropping RWBY, or did that never cross your mind? I've been actually very unenthusiastic about Volume 8 since the trailer dropped. But their trailers are also always really shitty, so yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm apathetic right now about Volume 8. I'm hoping the first episode that airs tomorrow will kind of spark that interest back into me, because I don't know, it's just been hard to get myself to care about Volume 8. But the closest I've been to dropping it was actually after Volume 6. Because Volume 6, I think it really needed to end with a roar after the travesty that was Volume 5, being what most consider to be the worst RWBY's ever been. I think Volume 6 really needed to be great. And while I really liked the first half of Volume 6, it ended with not a roar, but a whimper. The climax was really mishandled. There was a lot of wasted time. And then after that sort of really lackluster final, second half of Volume 6, that ends with, an unsuccessful cliffhanger. Weiss is it's the military, and I'm just like, so that means nothing to me. Is this too many? Is this not enough? I don't fucking. So yeah, a shitty, not even good, like successful cliffhanger, and then the Volume 7 designs really kind of disappointed me. I think Weiss stands out the most. I don't even necessarily hate Weiss's design. I just don't like how radically different it is for no reason. It's really her hair. Her hair bothers me a lot. So that was the closest I came to dropping RWBY, because I was disappointed with Volume 6, and this was the third volume in a row that I didn't really like. And Volume 7 didn't grip me with its promotional material. Luckily, I think Volume 7 was an improvement, so that's nice. Have you watched any good shows / movies recently? Yeah, I saw the Made in Abyss movie recently. That was really good. Made in Abyss is another great anime. Absolutely get into that. I also, we watched Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island for Halloween, and that's a great movie. It's got amazing music in it. It's not my favorite Scooby-Doo movie, that will always be The Witch's Ghost, but I have to say that it's objectively the best Scooby-Doo movie, and that's just good fun right there. Also for shows, I don't really watch a lot of TV, honestly, but I've been just smashing through all of the songs for Masked Singer, inexplicably. That just happened to me. I really like The Rabbit. Yeah, if you like good music, that's basically all that show is. So, yeah. Favorite book / written work? I don't read a whole lot of normal books. It's a lot of manga. So I'm gonna say I really like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's a good book. A little dated, but still good. And I remember it's been a long time since I've read it, but I really liked Ender's Game. Even though the author is a piece of shit, he's worthless, but the book was good. So if you can separate the art from the artist, then yeah. Also, congrats on 10K, you totally deserve it. Thank you so much. I was a huge fan of you and Allison's redesigns, so I'm curious, is there anyone else other than Team RWBY you would redesign? Thanks for the great videos, and here's to another 10K. Thank you, Sergio. Here is... I've done a redesign for Team Indigo, cause that seemed fun. It's older art, you know, so don't mind that. But yeah, here they are. I think these are real fun designs. I gotta design more outfits for more characters than just Team RWBY. Congrats! Thank you! Outside of the main RWBY group, which characters do you think should get their own show, regardless if it's a spin-off, prequel, or sequel? I have always thought that a Stark, prequel manga would... Oh, that's good. That would be good shit right there. There's so much you could do with a Stark spin-off. So yeah, that Stark all the way. I do think that their current idea of, they've got spin-offs for Coffee and Team Sun that's a good idea. That's great. But I'm still in Team Stark camp. A couple of you wanted to know what my favorite aspect of the show was, which that was actually a hard question to answer because I hadn't ever really considered it. I'm gonna say my favorite aspect is the concept. I like the world of it being fairy tales, and I wish it leaned in on that fairy tale jive more often. One of my favorite, even though they're really ugly episodes, the animation's not good in them for most of them, I really like the dance arc that happens in Volume 2, because it's just such a new, interesting weaving of the original fairy tale stories. How Cinderella, she does her cinder stealthing stuff, and it's midnight, and it's all just so good. Midnight strikes, and that's when she gets her sneaky plan into action, and then she changes her outfit like how Cinderella does at midnight, but she gains the pretty ball gown, and she's got her glass and her glass slippers, and I like that stuff, incorporating elements of the fairy tales into the story, and that's I'm gonna say my favorite aspect is the concept of this world and using fairy tales in a new, interesting way. But yeah. For any reason, who's your favorite Ruby character and why? I'm gonna go with Neon Cat. Because I think her designs are both really cool and really fun. The fact that she's Nyan Cat that's just funny. It's just cute. It's a cute, like, modern fairy tale idea. Meg does a really good job voicing her. Like, she sounds really natural. And she hasn't had enough screen time to be ruined by the writing. So that was mean. It's kind of true, though. We've got enough character with her that I get to kind of come up with my own cool headcanons of however she would be like or whatever she would do, without that thing that so often happens with Ruby characters where they get more screen time and they become, like, boring because of it, you know? It just, that happens so often in Ruby. But yeah, I like Neon. Did you hear that Ruby was originally going to be a serious protagonist? I did not. How would you react if that was always the case? I mean, it would be a different show now, wouldn't it? Like, your protagonist being completely different, it would just be a different show. I do think it would be a mistake to have Ruby be more serious, because that would mean they would all be. Like, that would mean only Yang would be the fun one, and even then that would stop with Volume 4. And I think having Ruby get to be levity in the team was a good choice. What are your thought processes / inspirations when making outfits in general? It kind of depends, you know? Sometimes I'll think of a color palette and then kind of roll from there. Sometimes my first thought will be a silhouette. Sometimes I'll just see an outfit I like and think of ways that it could be tweaked. Inspiration, I've been trying to pull from a lot of different people lately. Shiro Miwa is always a delight. I love his character designs. I really like a lot of the earlier Final Fantasy designs. I mentioned Deep Sea Prisoner earlier. You know, you find artists that you like, and you kind of try to study what they do. I've also been trying to learn more from fighting games designs, especially early fighting games, like back when they had to use sprite work, because those are some solid designs, and trying to figure out how they emphasize the important parts of the characters with their limited, palettes and everything. Thought process, it's a lot of thinking about how the character would move, thinking about the character's personality, is this something they would wear, or would they wear it differently? Like, it's the difference between Sun keeping his shirt open and buttoning it, his personality helps dictate that. And then also, interest. If you just put a character in a t-shirt and pants, that's fine. People wear that. It kind of depends on the type of character you're designing. Is this a slice of life in a normal, just like a normal world? Or is it a fantasy? That matters. You have to consider the world and technology, what kind of role the character plays. If this is a medieval fantasy, are they a barmaid or are they a hero? They'll dress differently. So that's kind of the process. I try to think of, you don't want it to be too cluttered. If you put a whole bunch of design elements on a character, then you'll never be able to render them again. I think it's smart to have kind of one part of them be the emphasized point. So, like, a lot of stuff going on their torso, but then more, like, bare arms, or, like, just pants, or, give them some really fancy shoes, and then maybe also some gloves, or some fancy neck accessory to help balance that out. So, it's a good couple of things that you have to think about. And inspiration can come from anywhere. So sometimes I'll just be listening to a song and then I'll have an idea and kind of roll with that. And that means I listen to the song on repeat for like a week or something. But yeah, there's no wrong way to go about it. That's just what I do. I'm pretty sure you've played or at least know about Fire Emblem, so what's your favorite design pre and or post time skip from Three Houses? pre-time skip, I really like Petra's design. She immediately stands out with her cool makeup, and, you know, she's got, like, the darker skin. Her braid's also really cool. She just, you know, she really helps. She stands out from the crowd, and she's really memorable for that. And post-time skip, this might be a bit of a cop-out, but Dimitri, because he's a big lion. He's a cool lion with his big cape, and he's got the eye patch now, and he's intimidating and cool. So, but I also have a crush on Dimitri, so, you know, my priorities might be a little skewed. And if you've played any of the other games, do you have a favorite design from them? I have played a couple of the other games. I like, you know, Naui is a pretty cool design, even though I don't love the battle bikini on the she's technically 1,000, but she looks like a kid. I'm actually gonna change that answer then. I'm gonna change that answer to Noe, her daughter. I like Brady a lot too. Virion stands out for sure with his blue hair. Cherche? She's got a neat design. Boy, they're all pretty forgettable from Fates. Fates doesn't have the greatest designs. Azura's is pretty good. I can at least recall Azura. Oh man, most of them are so, like, kind of run-of-the-mill. That's the problem. I liked Yukimura. That's not a good design, though. It's more of just an interesting character idea. Yeah, Fates isn't as good, I'd say. What are some pieces of media that have some of your favorite character designs outside of RWBY? I like a good amount of Final Fantasy designs. Like a lot of the 10 characters, the 9 characters, 8. You know, lots of good, real solid designs. I get it that, oh, but there's so many belts. Okay, yeah. They look cool, you know? Some are kind of ridiculous. I liked Lulu's design more before I realized her skirt was made out of belts. But, like, it's a tired meme at this point. Oh, all the belts, oh. Yeah, sometimes a belt can help make a character look cooler. Alright, also, so Nier, the Nier franchise, they've got some really good character designs. I love their use of color, or lack thereof. And on that same note, the Bravely series, so like Bravely Second and Bravely Default, I really like those character designs too. And I think I bring that, they're connected in my head because I'm pretty sure they have the same character designer. So yeah, those are really solid. And then also I'm gonna say Labyrinth. Labyrinth is my favorite movie, absolute favorite, and it's mostly Jareth. Jareth gets a lot of designs, and they're tons of fun. I don't usually look to real costuming for character design, but I really like the designs in Labyrinth. They're really thought-provoking and inspiring, and that's not just that includes like the puppet design. That's what I'm putting that in there as well. Is that the puppets, they've just got so much life in them, you know. What video would you redo, if any? Probably the Aura one. It's really boring. It's like 15 minutes of me just explaining Aura, and you know how Aura works. You've watched the show. If you wouldn't be clicking on the video if you hadn't. So it's just really like redundant, and I don't spend enough time explaining how the mechanics don't jive. Like I just explain all the mechanics and say that doesn't work because you're contradicting yourself, as opposed to sort of go into that more and maybe pull from examples from the show, and I don't really offer like ways to improve Aura. I just complain that they need to decide what to do with Aura while explaining what Aura is for 15 minutes. So yeah, probably that one. That video is also really unique because basically if I get any comments on it now, I basically don't read most of them because they're all just explaining that they think Aura is like whatever the fuck it is from Hunter x Hunter, and that's worthless to me. I don't need you to explain how you would do Aura different, and I don't need you telling me what you think Aura reminds you of. It's not like I hate these comments, they're just not, I can't engage with them at all. So yeah, maybe if I offered more for people to discuss in a video, Instead, it wouldn't just be, oh, this reminds me of Halo's power armor or whatever, you know? But yeah, Aura. Have you ever made a Ruby OC? If so, can you tell us a little bit about them? I've made a bunch, but yeah. So this is Gordon Roderick. His color is goldenrod. He is based off of Rapunzel. His weapons are effectively Fox's weapons. Basically those, but also guns. His semblance is that he can kind of teleport forward like a couple of feet. It's a pretty weak semblance idea, gotta say. He's one of the first characters Ruby OCs I came up with. This is a redesign of him, because when I first designed him, I was in high school still. So, no, I had just graduated high school. His original design was really bad, and I'm not going to show you that. So I redesigned him recently enough at least. His basic personality is that he's just kind of nice. He looks more confident than he actually is. Thoughts on Ironwood? He's one of the most interesting characters Ruby's had. He's actually really well written. He's deep. He has real stakes in the plot, and he actually affects the plot. I talk about him, about why I like Ironwood a lot in my, in this video here. And you can find a link to that somewhere, I'm sure. I like Ironwood a lot. Also, his voice actor does an amazing job. He's one of the best people working in the voice roles for Ruby. He blows it out of the water every time. Amazing job. He's one of my favorites. Absolutely. Relationship status. Me, I'm single. Another podcast? Critter's in charge of those. It's her podcasts. I just agree whenever she brings one up. So, most likely. I don't know when, though. What do you think they're gonna do with Ironwood in Volume 8? And congrats on 10K. Thank you. I really don't know. I think he's going to... Well, okay. So what I kind of hope that they're gonna do is have him play that morally gray role, and have it be a real dilemma. Have him... I expect to see him really struggling with his decisions and suffering the repercussions of that. What I really expect is for him to more devolve into, I'm crazy and nervous, and kind of just be a less interesting character because he has to be going insane now. Insane with fear. Yeah. I think something that could really benefit them is if someone agreed with Ironwood, because that's the problem. So Ironwood's like, martial law, we're running away, basically. Team Ruby's under arrest. And every single person disagrees with that decision. Every single one of them. The only reason people follow through with his orders are because they're loyal to him. So, Winter, the Aesops, they're all clearly upset with his decision, but they follow his orders because of loyalty. And I think that's really dumb. That it's stupid that literally no one agrees with him, because they present this like it's a morally gray kind of decision, because they've effectively created a trolley problem. But then they have the entire fucking cast tell the audience, oh, Ironwood's a bad guy. Ironwood did the bad guy thing because he picked a side. He picked a smart side, I gotta say. The fact that he can save at least some, as opposed to risk everyone getting hurt, to try to save everyone. It is a morally hard problem, and the fact that they just have literally everyone, point blank say to the camera that they don't like what Ironwood chose, and that he's a bad guy for choosing that, I think that's a mistake. I've deviated from your question, haven't I? But yeah, I hope what we get to see is more Ironwood kind of talking to people, trying to gauge what other people want and expect, and him trying... I expect he's just a calamity of failures. I expect him to try to fix things and probably making it worse while he does that. But what I also kind of expect is for him to become crazy and nervous all the time and yelling and unreasonable. I hope I hope I'm wrong on that one. What's your favorite show to watch besides RWBY? I'm gonna say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because I've seen it before, and I could just rewatch it over and over. It's got amazing animation and fights, and a 10 out of 10 story and characters. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Have you ever bought bitcoins? No. If RWBY were based off of different colors, what four do you think they should be? Alright, so I'm gonna pretend that I can't use red, white, black, or yellow for any of them. Which makes it hard, because black and white really help fill out, the colors like that. So I'm gonna roll with blue, teal, indigo, and orange. And if you want to know why I picked those colors, the blue, teal, and indigo are analogous, which means on the color wheel they are next to each other. And then orange is blue's complement, and blue is the one in the middle of the analogous colors, so orange is gonna look pretty alright with the other two as well. That's a small little color theory kind of fact for you. If you're kind of at a loss for what to do with a color palette for something, do what I just did and pick 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, and then one that's opposite the center color, and you'll be alright with that. So yeah. Any chance of streaming, more specifically art streams? I think it would be really fun to do that. I just don't really have the equipment to do that. I don't have a good computer. Everything I do is on this shitty, really old laptop, and I don't think I could handle streaming. So I'd like to eventually, but don't expect that in the near future. P.S. I just started to watch your videos, and after watching just one, I couldn't stop watching. Thank you for your great content. Thank you so much. Thank you. Which 3 RWBY characters has the best and worst designs, as in outfit, hair, weapons, etc.? Alright, so I'm gonna let you know that I'm technically going to skip your question, because I actually plan on making, like, top 10 tier lists for these. So, congrats, you get at least 2 full videos that answer your question. But I didn't want to just, like, pass over you, so instead I'll take this opportunity to point out some good background character, like unimportant character designs, like a good and bad one out of there. And I think actually a really good design is Trifa, you know, Yuma's friend from Volume 4. She's just got a really unique and cool color palette and design, especially for being a White Fang member. And a really boring one is, I've never liked Bolin from Volume 3. He's just a guy. He's just a fella. He's just a boy. I'm just not into him. I wish he had, like, one cool thing on him to help him stand out, because the rest of his team are really, really uniquely designed, and they have such cool elements in them. And Bolin's just, like, there. So yeah. Congrats so much, you deserve it. Thank you, that's so nice of you. Also, my question is, what's something that you really enjoy and or love about what you do, and why? I really like that I get to help cultivate, kind of inspiration for other people. I've gotten so many comments talking about how they never really thought about character design before, and, you know, people send me their fan art sometimes, like they come up with their own RWBY designs, and I love that. It's just so fun that I get to help people learn about character design and art in general, and that I can help inspire people to get into it. I'm not saying I'm the reason someone's gonna become a famous character designer, but it's just nice that we get to kind of explore design together, because I decided to make videos on YouTube. That's really fun. How did you get into drawing and making character designs? Like I said, I've always been drawing. My dad is an artist as well, so he definitely made sure that as babies we had paper and like crayons to color with and everything. So that was cultivated from a really young age. But making character designs specifically, I've always been into drawing characters. I'm gonna blame Pokemon for that, because, like, I would think of trainers or want to have a character, like I would think of OCs, you know? That's usually what it is I would think of an original character for something and want to see what they would look like, even though I was bad at character design when I was younger, you know? No one starts out good. But yeah, it was just watching shows that I liked and wanting my own character to be in that world too. That's what really got it all starting. Congratulations on hitting 10,000 subscribers, you deserve it, thank you. And here is an idea for you to think about the fighting styles. I'm just saying it's very important when you're writing an action anime, and if you want help, just look at how the fights in the first 2 volumes versus the rest of RWBY. Yeah, I've talked about the fights before. I've got a couple of videos on it. I don't know, I find it hard to pinpoint what makes the new fights different. Like, they're clearly different. But I don't want to pretend I'm an expert on choreography. I'm not saying I could necessarily do better. I do think, you know, there are some easy things to point to, like how there's an over-reliance on standing still, shooting, and talking at the same time. Characters move too quickly, there's not enough reaction time. I go over most of this, actually, in my Dead Fantasy video. That one has a fewer views than most of my other videos. That's alright. I liked the video. But yeah, I explore the differences in fights between what Monty would do and how they're handled currently in RWBY the most in that video. So I suggest check that one out. Also, you add here at the end, edit shit that right RT removed RWBY from YouTube, and I think that's a mistake. That is super dumb. Their website sucks. Their website is so bad, and everyone agrees that it's bad. So watching RWBY on YouTube was the easiest way to watch RWBY. Their website loads like shit. You can't scrub through the timeline on their website. You have to like click around to try to, like, if you want to watch one specific thing or something. And it's just dumb, because the excuse they gave was that they were getting fewer views on YouTube than on the website, which makes sense because they release the episodes on their website a year before they come out on YouTube, or well, they were. So yeah, by that time it's old news. You're not gonna get as many views on YouTube when they've been available to see for a whole ass year on your website. But like, even lower views on RWBY on YouTube, that's still like income. Like, they weren't making insubstantial amounts of views, and that's just, it's just really stupid. Especially, and it's the most annoying for Volume 6, because on the Rooster Teeth website, you have to sit through fucking Genlock ads starting with episode 6. There is a Genlock ad embedded in the video that you have to either skip over or sit through every time you want to watch a Volume 6 episode. And that was not there on YouTube. They removed those on YouTube. That was the definitive way to watch RWBY, in my opinion, at least Volume 6, because you didn't have to sit through the shitty Genlock ads. I'm not gonna watch your crap tier show, guys. And the fact that they removed it, it feels like a swan song. Maybe that's another reason why I'm not excited for Volume 8, because removing the rest of RWBY from YouTube arbitrarily and suddenly like that is just, I don't know. It feels like a death blow, like they're doing seppuku on themselves. I just don't see how it's a good idea in any way to remove RWBY from YouTube. But hey, this would not be the first dumb idea Rooster Teeth's ever had, I guess. Thoughts on Madoka Magica Rebellion and the Magia Record anime. So I haven't watched Rebellion or the Record anime yet. I want to. I really want to, though. I did play the mobile game, though, and that was cool, so I'm excited to see that story really fleshed out into an anime. Just OG Madoka Magica, really great. It's got some wonky animation, a lot of the time, actually. It's truly the amazing story and characters help support its less than awesome animation that it has every now and then. And quite frankly, the fact that it actually looks as good as it does is really impressive, because there were just so many roadblocks that I think the company had to go through. Like, there was like 2 earthquakes and maybe also a tsunami that hit like the studio as they were trying to work on Madoka Magica, like as it was airing. So I tend to give it a bit of a pass. That being said, it doesn't look bad by any means. Mostly it's some weird character animation. Like they'll turn in weird ways a lot. But I love Madoka Magica. It's one of my favorite animes. It's Critter's favorite anime too. So really solid. Absolutely recommend Madoka Magica. Congratulations. Thank you. Can I ask you for a video about Ruby's character and what's been done well and what's been done bad, both about development and fight scenes? Probably not. Probably not gonna make a video about that. Sorry. I do think good elements of Ruby's design is I do like her naivety and her innocence. I think that could be incorporated more into the show in a better way, instead of just her being one note all the time. I think it could be used to push the plot forward more often, as opposed to just making her and the rest of the kids follow orders all the time. Something that's been done bad with her character is they never use her. She gets the idea of growth sometimes, and then she just sits on the sidelines, and even as a, if they expect her to be a flat character arc, she's not doing it well, and just incorporating her more into the story that's what they gotta do. A couple of you wanted to know if I was planning on, like, making my own thing, whether it be a web comic or a short story or something. Yeah, absolutely. I would love it to, if I could get some of the comics I'm working on to be published on a website somewhere. That's the biggest thing, is I need to find a good website to put them on. I don't know. If you have any suggestions for that, I would love to hear it. But yeah, I want to make web comics, and the dream is to one day have them be printed. That'd be great. I'm delighted that some of you are interested in that. I guess if I get that really happening, I'll let you all know. I do like to try to keep my videos and my art more separated. Like, I don't leave links to any of the websites where I do post my artwork in my videos or anything. I guess I just don't want the success of my opinions on RWBY to influence the success of my art. Like, just because I'm popular on YouTube doesn't mean I necessarily deserve to be popular with my art. I just want them to be cultivated separately. Also because I don't want some asshole who doesn't like my opinion on RWBY to come running over to my artwork to tell me why it's bad and worthless and I'm not nearly as good as the show, because they would absolutely do that. But yeah, since a couple of you seem interested, maybe if I manage to get that off the ground, maybe I'll tweet about it or something. But yeah. What's the self-indulgent scene you wish was in RWBY but might not necessarily be good narratively? I've always wanted the kids to have, like, a bake-off. Like, oh, let's see who can make the best cake. It would be furthering nothing, and really it would have worked better if it happened back when they were still in Beacon. But I just think it could be a really fun exploration of antics, and like, you could get some wacky pairings, like, they could split off into 2 groups. So, like, it'd be, like, Ruby, Nora, Blake, and Oscar on one team, and then Jean, Weiss, Yang, and Ren on the other. And just, because we never get to see those combos interact. I guess I like the characters, and I want to see them talk to each other more. Let me know who you think would win that baking competition, by the way. What anime had your favorite character designs and aesthetic? I already mentioned Madoka Magica earlier, but I'll also take a second to reiterate that Land of the Lustrous' designs are super cool, and I love the aesthetic of the Lustrous. That one's great. Absolutely super cool character designs. Any animated series that you've watched that you felt satisfied with it portraying its themes? This was a hard one, because I don't know, it's not really something I think about when I'm casually watching a show. I'm gonna say I liked how Please Tell Me Galco-chan handled its, like, themes, and, you know, how that was incorporated into character design and the writing. It's not the deepest show ever, but it was good. How? Just, like, do it, man. Congrats! Thank you! How do you manage to balance life and mental health and YouTube? Poorly. I'm stressed a lot. I'm also tired a lot. Hi, how do you think RWBY will end? I think our group of heroes are going to teach Salem the importance of life and death by, like, showing her how powerful they are because of love, and how they cherish their time together because they know that death will come for them eventually. So she'll, like, have, like, a coming to Jesus moment kind of a thing where she'll understand, oh, people have to die, and then she'll, like, burst into flames or something, and then the kids will collect all the relics, like, they'll have them all and touch them together, and then the God of Light will show up and be like, congratulations, you win, and all the Ozma lives are gonna, like, leave, and it'll just be Oscar alone, and now the gods are back, and then we'll get, like, a post, like, a time skip to see how everyone's doing. We'll probably see, like, a couple of children from the heroes, like, what does Jean's kid look like, or whoever, and whatever. And yeah, that's how it'll end. What moment are you dreading / looking forward to the most when you eventually get to the Volume 7 reviews? It's the talking about Raven, oof. Talking about Robin fucking everything up in the helicopter, airplane, airship thing, with Crow and Clover that I mentioned already. I don't like that whole episode. I really don't. I'm also not looking particularly forward to, talking about the conversation between the kids and Ironwood after the gravity fight. I think that's all really annoying. And see, that's the double-edged sword of it all, are these scenes and moments that I think aren't done well. I have the most to talk about. So it's like, oh, I'm excited to get to that point, but ugh, that means I have to watch that scene again, kind of a thing, cause I wanna talk about the show. I do wish I had more positive things to talk about more often. I'd like to be more positive, just in general, on the channel. I want to cultivate a community of people who just like the show and want to talk about the show. I wish the show gave me more to be positive about. I'm working on it though. But yeah, probably that. Congrats on 10K, thank you! I think I remember you saying you really liked color theory in one of your videos about character outfits. What got you interested in color theory? I took a class on it in college. I think it was my second to last year, but it was an entry-level class. I had skipped it earlier because I could, and I was going back to it to fill out those, like, electives that I had to do. And it was just really fun, because I've always been able, or well, you know, once you start studying art on your own, you're able to recognize what colors look good together. But it was nice, like, learning why they look good together. Being able to, instead of just kind of picking and choosing or guessing, to be able to deduce it through, just, like, knowledge of how the color wheel works. So yeah, I like how impactful art can be with good color theory in mind. And I also think it's helpful for character design, which is one of my favorite things to do with art. So yeah. What do you think RWBY's story would be like now, had it not taken the darker turn, particularly at the end of Volume 3? I know what I definitely thought the show was going to be before Volume 3, which is I assumed that we would just be following these kids going on sort of one-off adventures as they grow into huntresses as we follow them through their 3 years at Beacon. And then maybe a final season where they go handle some real shit as huntresses. I definitely thought it was going to be more character-driven. So yeah. Your videos always just make me nod my head with max approval. Nice job on 10K. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you think RWBY would benefit from some sort of reboot, maybe a retelling like what Full Metal Alchemist did, or something completely new? I do think it could be beneficial. I don't want it currently. I would want RWBY to finish first and then a reboot. Like the way how the Shonen Jump manga is sort of trying to be a soft reboot. I don't think that's a good idea, because now we have just these, like, conflicting origin stories, because everyone wants to say that everything is canon. Oh, this is the new canon, this is canon, this is canon. And that's like Miles and Carrie saying that. That like, somehow both the show and also the Shonen Jump manga are canon, but they have completely different stories, so they can't both be canon. So I think a reboot could be good for RWBY, so they could incorporate things that they had thought of earlier into the show, and to help streamline us towards the plot as it is, as opposed to tricking your audience into thinking this was going to be a school anime for 3 years. I don't know if I would want it to be another show, like a TV show. I think a book or a manga would be a better path for that. I don't think it desperately needs a reboot, but I think a reboot could be good. Are there any other medias or franchises you're into? I'd imagine you don't just watch and think about RWBY all the time. I know I can't. Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely mentioned a good couple already. Other standout things that I'm really into. I watch tons of YouTubers. Of course, YouTube is the one thing I do when I'm not working on something, you know? I like lots of different movies. I've mentioned plenty of different anime that I watch already. Maybe here's some more anime that I'd recommend at you. Steven Universe, I like American cartoons as well, so Steven Universe is, well, it started out pretty good. It got a little worse near the end there, but Avatar's great. I suggest to check out Korra, like The Legend of Korra, if you haven't. It is different from Last Airbender. Don't go in expecting a similar story, and don't try to compare them while you're watching. I know that'll be hard, but if you just kind of accept Korra as its own thing, you'll enjoy it more, I promise. Season 2 is trash, though. Also, video games. I play lots of video games. I wish I played more, honestly. But the Dragon Quest series are really good. Pokemon are 10 out of 10. I like a lot of RPGs. So yeah, Mario, always, Mario, I recommend fucking Super Mario, as if you've never heard of that one before. Yeah, I know that it can seem like, sometimes I'll get comments that are like, you gotta watch different shows sometimes so you can see an actually good fight and shit like that. And it's like, guys, I do watch more than just RWBY. I don't make a video about everything I see, you know? But yeah, basically, I'm into nerd culture, so if it's vaguely nerdy, I probably like it. Star Trek is better than Star Wars. Stuff like that. Do you like giraffes? Sure. Between all the characters in RWBY, which ones would you fuck, marry, kill? I'd fuck Hazel, I'd marry Taiyang, and I'd kill... Let's go with Cinder. She's annoying. What would your weapon be if you were living in Remnant? Probably like a lance. Like a lance. But that it's also a gun, you know? What will you do if you're suddenly part of RWBY? I like how you question it, what will you do if you're suddenly part of RWBY? As if it's an inevitability. Like, what are you going to do when? If I were to be part of Krewbie, I'd probably tweet about it first of all. And then I would really like to ask Ayn Lee and all the character designers what their process is. I'd love to know that kind of behind the scenes goings-ons on how characters are designed at Rooster Teeth. That would be so interesting to learn to me. And how did you first get to know RWBY? Like I mentioned, first day I subscribed to Rooster Teeth, the trailer dropped. So yeah. What is your greatest source of inspiration? I'm gonna say music tends to inspire me the most. Yeah, more often than not, I'll be listening to a song and that will get me thinking about a story or a character or whatever. Other sources of inspiration for me are, like, watching other things that I like. Yeah, like, seeing video games or watching anime and being really jazzed about those worlds and those characters, that will inspire me. I'll usually, I'll do fan art, and then I'll try to hold on to what I learned by doing that fan art, so I can incorporate it later into my art. Like, outfit designs I hadn't thought of, or color palettes that I wouldn't usually work with. So yeah, music and then other good art. Congratulations, you're my favorite Ruby YouTuber, and I instantly fell in love with your videos. Thank you so much, that is so nice of you. As for question, will you do a face reveal? Also, I really enjoy the podcasts y'all do, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. I like the podcasts too. It's nice to just kind of sit down and chit-chat with my friends. Face reveal? Most likely, no. But if you want a vague idea of what I look like, just take the mom from Mad Father, make her hair wavy, give her glasses and brown eyes, and that's basically me. So, yeah. And there we have it. That's all the questions. All the good ones, anyway. I really can't believe that I got to 10,000. I remember celebrating, like, eagerly texting my friend because I had gotten 200 subscribers. And it felt like I would never get to 10,000. The fact that it's 10,000 people who are interested in my opinion, that's mind-blowing. I really I wouldn't be still doing this if it weren't for all you guys. You know, the views help the interactions that you have, that I'm very active in the comments, and it's, you know, there's always some fight to have, or someone trying to pick a fight, or something like that, and that's kind of lame, but getting to just interact with all of you guys who are also interested in Ruby and talking about Ruby, that's really cool. I do recognize some of you, you know, like the reoccurring members, the names I see come up more often, like every comment section. I recognize you, and I really appreciate you just watching my videos. Even if you don't agree with what I say all the time, that's alright, you know? Just the fact that you take the time to listen, that matters so much. And I want to thank my patrons. I don't have a ton of patrons, but you guys matter so much to me. I'm finally able to make rent every month and not, like, constantly be worried that I won't be able to. And you guys are such a big part of that, you know? And even down to the people donating $1, you know? Every little bit matters. And you're all just so cool. And, this is where I'm getting the most rambly. Just a lot of ums and ahs. I just want to say thank you. You guys give power to whoever it is you choose to watch or subscribe to. I'm nothing without you, literally. Otherwise, it's just me talking to myself a lot and spending a lot of time editing together videos that no one would watch. But you guys chose to watch. You guys, it's all you. So yeah, just thank you. Thank you to the patrons again. Here are my $15 patron arts for the month. $15 patrons get, I draw an OC for them. It doesn't have to be a Ruby OC necessarily. You know, I'm very willing to work with you if you don't have any OC ideas, you know. So just thanks again. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you sitting through this really long video of me just talking to myself. Take a shot every time. Like, go back and rewatch it and take a shot every time I say, so yeah. I'd love to see any fan art you guys make. Never be afraid to tweet at me, fan art. There's no guarantee I'll like it all. But I will see it all, and I appreciate it, even regardless, you know? Yeah. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Be nice to people, even if they don't have the same opinion as you. Draw something you like. And keep moving forward. Yeah.